Well, before we actually start the meeting, we have the we have Grace Dennis, Emma Allen, and so well, in your own time. Yeah. Yes.
Hello everyone, good evening. Thank you so much for having us along this evening, taking up your...
Sorry, can we, Clive?
We've convened the meeting now.
Sorry, Clive. Sorry, ladies. Sorry, I do apologise.
Sorry, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Kearsney Abbey refurbishment project and to present to you some options in terms of River Parish Council becoming a project partner with Dover District Council in terms of that refurbishment project. Some of you might have already seen on Kearsney's website or on social media the exciting news that a refurbishment of the play area is happening. But I'm not here alone to present to you about this. I'm actually here with Kieran, who is the architectural officer, and will be able to answer any questions around the tender or the design and the actual build of the play area. And I'm also here with Emma Allen, who's the head of Parks, Open Space in the Countryside, so has a wealth of knowledge in all things play area refurbs. So want to give you the opportunity to ask questions, hence we're here today. In front of you there are 3 documents, one of which is a project brief that I'll just walk you through now. The second is this play area investment review, which gives you some information in terms of the current equipment that's there and budget that is needed in terms of refurbishment. And last but not least, we provided you with a little budget breakdown as well, because River Parish Council, in terms of funding options, isn't our only source of funding that we are seeking, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that as well. So I will just whip through the brief, and then we can give you the time to ask any questions as well. So Kearsney Abbey, the happy news is that there's going to be a refurbishment project. It will start off in terms of the actual work next winter, ready for opening in spring/summer 26. The play area is being refurbished because the items are becoming outdated, and I think that is partly because of the investment that Kearsney Abbey received a few years ago from the Heritage Lottery Funds, which has resulted in lots more visitors to the site. I'm sure you all know how well loved and how well used it is. I was speaking to somebody that manages the cafe there earlier today, and this financial year alone they've had 70,000 transactions in the cafe. So if you think that that's just one transaction perhaps per person, they were probably there with their family or their children. So I don't think it's too bold to say that there's probably 200,000 people accessing that park and even that play area on a yearly basis, which is amazing. But it has meant the play equipment, some of which was refurbed in 2008, is becoming outdated, and because it is a strategic site for Dover District Council and it is so well loved and so well used, we want to do the best possible job that we can in terms of making it safe and accessible, and give it the play area that it deserves, really, because it's such a well loved and such a special site. As you can see within the brief, it says that DDC has allocated 100,000 towards the project from the Special Revenue Projects Programme, and that was agreed by Cabinet last September. We're also seeking an allocation of approximately £30,000 from Section 106 funding from developers. That's subject to Cabinet approval in March of this year. We've also recently submitted a bid to the lottery for the Awards for All grant, and we will hear the decision of that within approximately 4 months' time. So we're anticipating that we will submit a report to Cabinet in summer 2025 with all of the potential funding streams, so that they're aware and to seek their approval. And we are looking for a budget of between £165,000 and £200,000. In terms of the site, I think I've touched on the equipment and the fact that it was refurbed or partially refurbed in 2008, and maybe we can come on to kind of Q&A, and Kieran can provide you a little bit more detail about that once I've speaking. I don't want it to be just my presentation. But let me move on to consultation, because that's something that's live and that's happening at the moment. We began consultation with Dover residents before Christmas, partly to help us collect information for the bid that was going into the lottery, because any information around where people are coming from, age ranges of users of the play area helps with things such as applying for lottery funding, and I can go into some more detail on that in a moment. But that's not the first consultation that we'll be doing. We're going to be doing a more in-depth stage of consultation in the summer with primary schools and with footfall through the park to really deep dive into what they'd like to see in the park or in the play area. The results so far of the initial survey, as I've said, it was to kind of capture where people are coming from and how old the children are that are using the site, but we did give people the opportunity to provide their comments initially in terms of what they'd like to see, and they've had a lot to say, which is really useful, and it's something that we're going to be carrying with us kind of as we move throughout the project as well. But all of this consultation ultimately will inform the tender pack that will go out to procurement, so that companies have that information when they draw up their designs, so that residents' consultation is within that. I just wanted to include some visuals of our survey responses to date, just so you can see the age ranges of the children that are using the play area and where they're from. Quite a nice mix of where people are coming from, as well as outside of the district, which I'm sure isn't new news to you, that lots of people come in to Dover district to use Kearsney Abbey because it's such a well-loved site. But as you can see there, Dover Downs and River by far is the highest area of resident responses. I'm just trying to do quick maths of 81 out of 225. I think that's about a third off the top of my head, just to give you some idea of who's using the site. But like I said, I'm sure that's not a surprise to you. We included a few quotes here, just in terms of what people have already saying they'd like to see, but to kind of condense 225-ish responses into themes. From having a quick look through, more swings, especially toddler swings, was really popular, and inclusive equipment, accessible equipment was a recurring theme as well. But if you want more information on any of those responses, we're more than happy to share that with you. Really interesting as well, I'm not sure if any of you have ever been along to the trails that are put on in Halloween and Easter for families. I couldn't believe the amount of attendees that are coming in from outside of the Dover district, so it just shows again how popular it is. People love taking their children there in half term and in the holidays to use the site. So just a little bit of a snapshot for you. So this brings me on, and I might rely on Kieran a little bit here, or Kieran can answer some more questions around this in terms of the design. But ultimately, at this stage, we know that we can say we want the space to be as attractive, as safe, and as accessible as possible for the kids that are using the play area and for their families as well. I'll just go through the timetable quite quickly for you. Some of this I've already mentioned in terms of funding. So we secured 100,000 via Cabinet last September. We've done our initial consultation phase recently, and then there'll be a second consultation phase, or phase 2 I should say, in the summer. We'd like to firm up our budget by the summer so we can present that to Cabinet and get their approval, and then it will mean the actual delivery of the work at the play area, so going through the tender process, contract award, etc., and then the works will take place in spring, summer 2026. And that brings me on to the nitty-gritty really of why we're here today, is to present you with the option of becoming involved, should you wish, in terms of becoming a full project partner. And we've laid down some of the benefits of becoming a full project partner there for you, and we just wanted to reiterate that the funding amount that we are seeking is similar to value in those made by other town and parish councils for similar play area renovation projects. And Emma Jane is here to answer any questions around that you might have. So let me just kind of outline the options for you. I think first and foremost, and we haven't included it as a bullet point, but it's probably the most important one, is that your contribution would mean that children and families of River who are using Kearsney Abbey are benefiting from the money that you might put into the project. So yeah, that is the most important piece of that. Secondly, you would be recognised for your contribution in all comms and updates about the project, so people will be very aware of your contribution and that you're a full project partner with us. We would also invite you to be part of the tender panel to evaluate the play area designs. So when those options are coming through from different companies, we've gathered the full consultation responses from residents. You will be involved in that panel evaluating those designs. We'll also invite you to be part of the consultation. So if you'd like to, you could review the format of the questions in advance, plus always seeking your engagement as well. We'll provide you with regular updates about the project and invite you to be part of the opening event and take part in a photo shoot as well. We've also included there the other option. So if there is no contribution from yourselves, we will still seek your feedback as a key consultee and provide you with regular updates about the project as well. So that in a nutshell is the play area brief. Kieran and Emma, I'm going to hand over to you and just see if you've got anything else that you want to add or anything else that you want to emphasise.
I did very well actually. Probably best to take questions.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Your consultation, was that done on just a day or over a period of time?
So the survey is still open at the moment. It was on Dover District Council's website and we shared it on social media and on Kearsney's website.
Yeah.
So it's a survey consisting of about 5 questions to capture where people were coming from, age range, and then there was the space at the bottom that if they wanted to include anything about what they'd like to see in the park. So it's still live at the moment.
So it's just an online one?
Online survey.
No one's out there, or is there bits they can pick up at the cafe or anything for this?
We've given the cafe flyers with a QR code to the survey. Volunteers are aware that the refurbishment is coming, so they've been handing out the flyers to the survey and letting people know that the refurbishment is happening and encouraging them to fill out the survey to tell us what they think. But the real face-to-face consultation with footfall of residents that are going through the play area in the cafe, with the community groups van as well that Dover District Council have got, and with the schools is really going to happen in detail in the summer, so people can
I was going to say there's a lot more sort of mannequins that use it than the one that's obviously on there.
Okay.
Yeah. I just wondered how it was being done at the moment. But if they're going to do another one, that's
Yeah.
you'll probably get a lot of different figures.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot come from outside.
A lot at the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, the major purpose of this initial one was really to support our application
Oh, yeah.
for the funding. So, like Grace says, we will do a lot more face-to-face with the community roots van and so on, which will encourage people who maybe didn't want to do an online survey.
There's quite a few that are reluctant to do it.
Or they don't even know.
Yeah.
If
They
they
don't-
just come to Kearsney, they don't necessarily look it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it might be a daft question from me, but in terms of basically those investors who give money, have you not considered to check with the cafe? Because obviously the cafe benefits hugely from the play area being a success, and I personally find they should be contributing to it.
The cafe is
Yeah, but
run
the
by
cafe-
Dover District
Yeah,
Council.
but this is a different pot, isn't it? It says medium-term capital programme, that's not the
But
cafe.
the cafe is Dover District Council.
I know it's Dover
Yeah.
District, but it's a different pot,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's
I'm
not
for the
one
same
pot.
to get into a situation where they might be able to consider making donations. They're not in that place at the moment.
And you just said how successful they are. And
Yeah, it's still
Yes.
challenging to run a site like that and make a profit. It's not easy. And councils aren't set up to make profits either, really. That's not what we're really about. So they don't have a pot of surplus money. And if they did, I think it would be more likely to be invested in improving the, say, kitchen facilities, something like that, rather than investing in the play area. The cafe sits within a different team in the council that focuses on events and so on, and serve that kind of service, whereas we work in the property side or the outdoor facilities side. So I think there is a very generous contribution from Dover District Council. I accept it hasn't come from the cafe, but the council is putting forward a considerable investment for this project.
Can I just ask about the ongoing maintenance costs? Would there be an expectation on the parish council to contribute to ongoing maintenance?
That's the absolute beauty of this project, as far as you're concerned. We already have a maintenance budget for that play area.
Obviously, we'll maintain our own
Of course, yeah.
recreation grounds.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, we have regular maintenance schedules as part of the kind of package we already have.
Yeah.
So we have regular inspections with the company we employ, and obviously they recommend repairs and basically regular maintenance on top of that, and we take appropriate action.
Okay. So there'll be funding to keep the equipment in good condition.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is very expensive to put in to start with.
Yes.
We know that equipment breaks and the cost of that, so there'll be
Absolutely.
budget for it moving
I think we
forward.
can demonstrate how well Dover District Council takes care of play equipment by referencing the fact that there would a multiplayer unit there. So if you can picture the play area, if you're facing the ship
Yeah.
and the swings are behind you, that was installed in 1993.
Wow.
So it's been maintained for all that
I was,
time.
yeah, I think I probably paid for that as a child.
I've got one question about the target total is 165,000, and that at the moment looks like it's primarily just to make good rather than bring in new equipment and new pieces. Is the 200 more about that, or?
Certainly we'll bring in new equipment.
Yeah,
The more we can get, the more
Yeah.
potentially we can replace
Yeah.
potential equipment that needs replacing maybe 5 or 6 years down the line. We
Yeah.
can potentially do now rather than refurbishing and maintaining them.
Yeah.
So yeah, certainly there will be new equipment there. So for example, the wooden log multi-play unit,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
though it has survived very, very well for a long time, that's probably one piece that
Yeah.
is going to be removed and make way for new equipment, for example.
Play area projects are like, the bigger the budget, the more
Yeah,
we can
sure,
do.
yeah,
So we're
sure.
just trying to secure as much money as possible. We'd love to be able to expand the footprint, don't know whether we're going to be able to with this budget.
Yeah.
We will replace, when it goes out to tender, we will partly seek advice from the play area companies about what they propose are the most cost-effective ways or items to replace
Yeah.
or add. So there will be plenty of new things to look
Okay.
at. It's a pretty good budget, to be
Yeah,
honest.
And just one other thing, sorry, which is benches. Because when the kids go there, all the mums and dads are standing around because there's not enough seating, for them to watch the kids safely.
Well, there's some exciting news on that front, which
Okay.
is in February, Cabinet agreed, the Dover District Council agreed to reintroduce the memorial bench scheme.
Okay.
So,
So there might be scope there.
yeah, potentially, we haven't actually got, to be fully transparent, we haven't got any sites adjacent to this identified at the moment as opportunities for that, but
Yeah.
we always look at seating as part of the play area renovation, so if more seating is needed, we will find a way to put that in. Some of the seating is outside the play area at the moment, which some people like because then they can let their children play
Yeah,
out
the
and not
space.
have to be helicoptering over
Depends
them
on
as
the
well.
age.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a fairly small site really, isn't it? So we wouldn't want to overcrowd it with masses of seats.
Yeah, no, sure.
And there are picnic benches nearby as well.
Yeah, thank you.
As I say, it is quite a popular site, and it's likely to become even more popular with improvements there. The current car parking, now I know there's been extensions to the car park there. What about long term? If we get even more visitors, are there any thoughts about extending the car parking facility?
That, I think, going back to the cafe, they would love the car park to be extended. There is always a push and a pull with that kind of question, isn't there? That some people would like extra car parking, other people would not be happy with more of the park being converted into a car park. We would need planning consent.
Yeah.
We probably need to do some levelling works. So we haven't got any immediate plans to extend the car park. What we have done recently is improve the surface of the extension car park. But it would be quite a change in approach to extend the car park.
I'm just thinking it might be something you'll have to bear in mind though.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And another thing that's happened is, I think, this is very dangerous because I'm kind of trying to recall what conversations happened within the council offices, but I believe that we are being more assiduous in monitoring car park times or like length of stay, which is helping to ensure that more people can visit. So I think it's a 4-hour limit there, isn't it?
And again, that's good, but also bad because families in the summer spend a day in the Abbey. So you're going to create a problem there. You no matter what you do, you can't get it right. Yes, no, I'm just saying it's so difficult. We know all too well how much a playground of this sort costs. We have the one in the rec, which is extremely popular. We've got 2, but the costs are quite frightening because, as you say, we have a company that comes in, they inspect it and they repair it as they go, and nothing is left to chance. But it's a very, very expensive playground, but rather like the one at Kearsney Abbey, it's very, very well used. So no, applaud DDC for pushing it forward. I say we as a parish council need to discuss internally with regard to assistance or not financially, take on board everything you're saying, and I would like to apologise. There's poor Mike Innes sitting there thinking you're the only one that did it. I did it. I rolled up 10 minutes because, in all honesty, for me our meetings are always 7:30. Yeah. So
a late visit to the dentist decided that restoration was not the solution.
But I completely missed that it was 7 o'clock. Yes. No, I came straight from the office thinking I was in plenty of time, and I wasn't. I could have left easily 10 minutes earlier. So to everyone here and to the 3 from DDC, I do apologise. I feel very guilty for having done it, but I thought I'd need to let Mike know, as he was sitting there looking very sheepish. You weren't the only one. Yes, me also. Does anyone have any other questions?
Yes, if I might say so. The point about the use of the existing car park, we were informed that in fact the 4-hour sort of limit on there was nothing to do with anything else other than, and this was somebody from Dover District Council who informed this parish council about this, that it was to stop car sharing.
Oh, that's right.
They
Yeah.
aren't there and then go off on someone else's vehicle.
Yeah, I don't
to
know
go to
why
work.
you have to stop car sharing really.
Well, people take up, it's quite simple really. People were taking up, they were coming along there and parking cars there that should have been for people visiting the car park and using the facilities there. That's why it was put in
I
there.
remember now, yeah.
That's why.
I very much hesitate to make any further comments on the car parking. I'm already kind of worried that I've said anything at all, given that it's not my subject area. But what you might be interested to know is that there's currently I'm not sure if it's a consultation at the moment, but there is a project going on at the council to review parking across the district. Is it live now? Yeah. So if you would like to make your views known on that, there is a route to do so.
But I'm not aware of any checking that goes on there about the 4-hour limit.
Yeah, I've been assured that that is now patrolled. It might not have happened when you were there, but it
Well, I've
They do
just
go
said
in.
it.
It's not checking on the double yellows either.
I think regardless, we need to
Park
consider
everywhere,
the play park because that's interested
It's
with
completely
these,
separate
yeah,
from the
if
park,
we do
yes.
something with this or not,
Yes.
it's going to be busy. It's a couple of
Correct.
parks. I think
Correct.
we should consider the park.
The quick one, in terms of again, people getting there, have you thought of working a bit closer with the likes of South East Trains and using Kearsney Abbey? Kearsney, because in fact I know somebody who comes from sort of north, well, mid-Kent, and come down on the old slow train, go to Kearsney, have a morning or afternoon there and go back on the train. But work with them in advertising, say, Kearsney Railway Station.
That's something we can take away to the tourism team, but
Yeah.
clearly one of the advantages of this site is it's not only accessible by car, there are a lot of
It's a
people
few
living
minutes
nearby, and there's also the train station
Yeah,
as
a
well.
few
so-
minutes walk away, really.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And one thing, sorry, one final thing I should have said earlier probably is, if you would like any kind of referees about how we behave as project partners, we're currently working with Walmer Town Council and Sandwich Town Council on similar projects which will be delivered this spring. So they could explain to you how we do work in partnership when we are working with a parish or town council.
Lovely.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Yeah.
So I do apologise, you rushed it and you did it very well. That was my fault. Yeah.
One thing I will say, just to finish as well, that this will be an open tender, so it's invited to all play companies, so it won't be just a restriction on 3 or 4 companies, it's open to everyone within the framework.
Oh, that'll be fun going through that.
Are we,
It will.
are we aware of our deadline to come back to you on this?
Yeah,
Is there have I missed?
So
is it anything
our-
written?
Our report to Cabinet setting the budget will be in June or July. We have to have that ready a month in advance.
Okay.
So ideally, if you could let us know, do you have a meeting
Oh,
in April maybe
we-
that you could?
We will certainly, we won't, more likely won't discuss it this evening,
No,
we
no.
may do briefly,
Yeah.
but we'll have a
Yeah.
full discussion at a next meeting,
Perfect.
and you will know,
Thank
good
you.
or bad, what we say, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we don't sit on our hands here, we do,
Perfect.
I may arrive late, but when I get here, I get yes.
Sorry, the very last thing, I know I've said this now 3 times, but there might be opportunities that parish councils can apply to for funding that we cannot apply to. So another way that you, although the timescale's not huge, you could consider is whether you would be willing to make applications on our behalf. Obviously, we give you every support.
The answer to that is definitely yes,
Yes.
and we would. We have somebody that's going to guide us as to how to do it.
Yeah, but it might be a conflict of interest if we're also trying to support there as well as the Recs.
Yes.
So it might not be possible.
Okay, but I say if
we go
it's
for similar
possible,
pots.
yeah. But if it's possible,
yeah.
we will. But we will certainly discuss that.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Joint
Yep.
applications maybe, but not on behalf.
Yep.
I think.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so
Right,
much.
thank you so
Lovely.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers, bye.
Right, to everyone though, if I would profusely apologise, I say I'd had the agenda earlier than all of you. I'd read it, but I hadn't read it, and I definitely didn't notice the 7 o'clock. I say I left the office, came straight here. I could have easily arrived on time, so apologies for that. But we will move on now to start the meeting. Yes, or yes. Right.
How are you, mate? David? Oh, you good?
Sorry, Andrew. are. Got it. Sorry, Andrew. Right. Okay. Apologies for absence. I was a late arrival, so I did get here. You can note that. And the same for Mr. Innes. Right. We were present, but just.
Nigel was hoping to get here, but he said if he didn't, to apologise for him. So apologies from Councillor Collar.
Right. I say good evening, everyone. Right, that's item 1 out the way. Apologies. Declarations of interest. Does anyone have any to declare? No. We'll then take the minutes of the previous meeting, which you've all had a copy of. And I would ask, if I may, for a proposer and seconder for those, please.
One proposer.
Proposed by Pauline, seconded by. Thank you. And we've also got minutes of the events committee.
I haven't actually handed those.
No, I was going to say I've just seen them, so
We'll take those.
we'll take those as read. Yes, yes,
meeting.
yes. Right. Updates on those minutes. Anything arising from those? I've marked a number of things on there that I wanted just to clear up or to cover. Item 5. There was a question of the speed watch. I have spoken to Mary Jackson. I let you all know she's immediately agreed that yes, she will continue with it. She wanted to. She's offered help to Christiane if necessary. And I did explain to Mary one of the problems was the actual operating of it was understood, but the administration possibly wasn't. So she is aware of that. So she may bend your ears on that, but she will try to bring you up to speed on that. So definitely that one's covered. Item 95B, Kent Highways traffic survey. Is there any move on that?
Yes, it is scheduled to happen in March.
Lovely. It said we're waiting today, so that's March. Thank you.
And that's on the top road, yes?
Yes.
London Road, yes. And you've seen the parish emergency plan. It desperately needs updating. I'm there as a district councillor, you're as a district councillor. Every other parish councillor apart from Clive has gone, left or gone. So yes, we'll obviously cover that a little bit later, but it's there, so I've mentioned it. I've got the question raised with regard to Orcombe and Temple Ewell running some sort of check. You were going to have a word with them, Andrew.
Yeah, I've got a response from Temple Ewell. I'll pass them on to Councillor Innes, but I'm still waiting for Orcombe to get back. But their clerk doesn't work too many hours, so I imagine that might take a little while.
Okay, lovely.
But they do have a kind of environmental working group, so that's might be of interest to them.
Lovely. The lamp post at the top of Cowper Road, has it been
No, nothing.
not done?
Nothing at all. And I checked the website and absolutely it's just the same as it was. It's been 2 months now.
Is there anything we can do, Andrew? Can we as a parish council complain or?
Yeah, I can get in touch with the
They're waiting for the
with the
insurance.
local, yeah,
Oh, I see.
with the local guys.
They should
Would
Would you mind? Yep.
That's not good, is it? You
No.
don't like that.
Or another thing, yes, again, that was Auckland Parish Council, their speed watch. You were going to have a word with them because
Yes.
you've still got that.
Ditto. That's
Yeah, ditto,
waiting.
right. The planters, which were raised, planning is in, we've moved quite considerably forward, haven't we?
Yes, planning.
I think.
Planning is in. The funding from Councillor Beanie is confirmed. So I'm in touch with the contractor. I think the best thing would be, if possible, that they get delivered straight to him, and then he can bring them on his wagon rather than being delivered here. So yeah, I'm just trying to confirm that with him. Then I can get the order in, and we should be moving on.
Fantastic. That's good. So. Oh right, yes, the tree hanging over by the wreck, as you all saw, that was dealt with very quickly by our contractor of the wreck. Clark reported that he asked for an update on the replacement Lewisham Road bus shelter. Anything back or not?
Yes, I have some news, not a bit good.
Never is.
Just one moment, I can find it here.
Is that the bus shelter I was working on as well, Andrew, as well? Nothing back.
Yeah, took a while to get a response. So I've got it here somewhere. Well, the upshot of it was that basically they're saying that there isn't a lot of funding for, well, it's, I was trying to find the down letter, I can go through exactly. Yeah, obviously it wasn't repairable presumably, but there isn't like a specific fund for replacing bus shelters. It's the fund, it's all with a company, and the funds are all to do with maintenance, and they've got to see how much money is in the pot. Apparently they cost an average about £15,000 each.
What?
That's the message I'm getting. So
Do they get advertising their revenue from some of them?
well, bus shelters are actually they're owned by different people. Some of them are owned by the DVC, some of them are owned by town and parish councils, some of them are owned by Stagecoach, and I think advertising companies also own, I don't know if they own or whatever.
They own the ones that
They own some of those as well.
Yeah.
So it,
This one.
I think the one that we had was owned by DDC. So unless somebody else wants to put
Are
one
we
there instead.
allowed to inquire if anybody else would like to sponsor us one, like a advertising company?
Is it Clear Channel, isn't it called?
Yeah. That's
There's
what
one
yeah.
at the top of Lewisham,
Yeah.
at the top of London Road,
I mean, I
and
think-
one before the bottom of Whitfield Hill.
Yeah.
That's got adverts on.
Yeah, I mean, I can ask them.
Yes.
Somebody else.
Good
will take
idea.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah, that
I
was
might cover the
Because I
cost
get
of
wet.
getting one.
Well, I'm just going to ask that as next thing. Could we find, could DDC maybe have to tell us if they own some others, what would be the cost of installing a bus shelter there? Is it possible? Could we have some?
Yeah,
Oh, actually,
Feedback on
I
that.
found the letter. DDC owns 71 bus shelters of varying types, metal, wooden, concrete, brick around the district. There's not a specific specific budget for bus shelter repairs. This would come under a general repair pot. Clear Channel, which are the companies who supply, erect and operate the 52 main bus shelters in the district, in addition to freestanding advertising boards. The contract with Clear Channel provides DDC with some funding, and these funds are used for the maintenance of DDC owned bus shelters. DDC currently has 2 bus shelters in need of replacement, in addition to the one on Lewisham Road.
Oh, it's DDC then,
That
not
is
Sage,
DDC,
yes.
that one. We are currently in negotiations with Clear Channel regarding funds to be used for replacement as opposed to maintenance. So, no update as to when.
Who was that email from?
That was from Yvette Hales.
Can you forward that on to me, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Certainly, if you could find out what the cost
Yeah,
of
she's
one
yeah,
would be.
She's
Yeah.
only sort of lower officer, that'll be rude, so we'll try and
But it would be interesting to know what the cost is, and possibly whether we, as you say, if we can't fund it with
Yeah.
one way, but
Well, even if you could potentially obviously want to talk to Clear Channel direct, because if you're willing to fund some and Clear Channel's willing to fund some, maybe take DDC out of the equation.
let's approach Clear Channel and see what response we get from there. It's just that obviously is quite important to a lot of people. You know, to have no bus shelter on there is a problem. Yes.
Yeah, but I would have thought obviously there's £7,000 or £8,000 I would have thought would be plenty enough money for one of those.
Well, that's why I said let's find out what the cost. Yeah.
Metal sort of bus stop structures.
Yes. That's why I queried and said, could you find out?
£5,000 install, no more than 10k for
Yep.
But there's still a principle, which is that there was one there before,
And that,
it should just be replaced.
Well, yeah, it's exactly that. It's just
That's the
you
principle.
are, the idea is the fact that it wasn't
That's what they were
much
going to
out
do.
there.
They've got
And
that
one
money
will
to
replace
do
it,
it.
Yeah, so they should have, the responsibility is for them to replace it or repair it, not for us to try and
Well, if David can, when he's seen this, have a word, just see what is or is not possible. Okay, we can put pressure on them, but DDC. But no, if you could find out what the cost would be, have a word just to see how impossible it is. Yes.
Concerning when preset money goes further than DDC money, isn't it?
Yes.
It's quite scary, isn't it, really?
Right, so that's the bus shelter. Question from a member of the public with regard to Meadowdene nursing home.
They have it marked as private. Spoke to someone at DDC and they looked at it, it was marked as private, not to be issued.
Oh, so we don't know then.
So what was that?
It's marked as private on the land registry.
Oh.
They can request that.
So we don't know who
So
owns
we don't
it.
know who owns it.
No.
I think I mentioned at the last meeting, the last time I went down there, it was because of somebody's 100th birthday, and it was quite an interesting sort of gathering, and I know quite a bit about that place because for various previous owners I have made planning applications for quite a few occasions for that place, and I've always imagined that the reason for its demise was new legislation which continually comes in, and
they couldn't make it to pass. They couldn't make it to pass the new legislation. Because you have to have a bedroom with an ensuite, and there's not room to convert those.
I met the owner on that occasion, probably about 5 years ago, and she seemed quite a interesting, supportive sort of person. But
Sorry, just move. One last item is 12 there, which is the nomination for Kelk. We have.
That has been submitted.
That has been submitted, thank you. And you all saw that on the WhatsApp. Yep. Thank you. Has anyone else got anything other than I've raised on those minutes? That was part of the reason why I was late. I sat there doing that before I came. Nothing else? Right. We'll move on then to receive reports. PCSO, leasing.
Yes, I've got a little bit of something from us. Basically, I today received the latest newsletter from the Police and Crime Commissioner, which I will circulate, and also an invitation to join the Independent Advisory Group, if anybody's interested in that.
Is that the police one?
Yes. The IAG are a group of community volunteers who work with Kent Police to improve policing services across the county and acting as critical friends. Group supports policing by providing a link between police and communities of Kent, sharing community feedback, giving advice and support during critical incidents as required. So if anyone's interested in that, I can circulate that as well.
Thank you. Right. And we move on to our district and county councillors. Good evening and welcome all of you. Yes.
Oh yeah, beautiful duty here on this one, Chairman. And like you, I really do apologise for being late. And with my district hat on, Emma, Jane, and a team, they very rarely come out. So you're privileged for them to come out. Normally they get shouted at by parish councils. I know Guston and things like that. So for them to come out, it is really good of them to come out. And I hope you work with them over Guernsey Bay Park. And the benches, etc. I do know that a bench now costs £4,000, and it will be metal. It can't be wood. So if you do, so those benches do cost an awful lot of money now. But that's by the by. That's on DC. KCC, two big things. All I can say about and Andrew, I'll send you a note, so you don't need to do it. First of all, devolution. You all heard about devolution. February the 5th, all came down. KCC didn't get it. So devolution is not happening anymore. There's still going to be the local government reorganisation, LGR, you'll hear it now. So that's still going to happen. We will still go to unitaries within the time, but the time scale no one knows about. So with KCC, we've got elections coming up on May the 1st, and the rumour we're hearing is it's going to be for 4 years. It's going to be another 4-year term because we're no longer on the fast track, we're now on the slow track. And I do know that within KCC, they're all turning around saying, let's not, the government have said no to us going on the fast track, so let's just stand back, have a look. They put us, you've got to say what we're going to do by the end of March, you've got to say what we're going to do by the end of November, and KCC are turning around and saying, no, this is major, nothing's happened this big since 1974 or something, so calm down, let's just see what happens with your fast track, boys, see whether it works or not, and we'll just do it. So it's everything is up in the air at the moment. All we can say is the elections are going to happen on May the 1st. Again. So whether you want it or not, that's it. The other big thing is on Thursday is the budget. And so KCC are going to go forward with their budget on Thursday. They're full council. David and myself are going up there. The budget's good. In fact, there have been savings done. Our one big problem still is adult social services. We're £23 million in debt, and that is going to be problems. Special education needs. Transport has been reduced. Surprisingly, it's the only council that's actually reduced it at the moment. Whether that's good or bad for some people, I don't know. But it's adult social services is every single county council's problem at the moment. That's why they get into debt. Doesn't matter whether you've invested in other properties or where it is. That gives at £23 million at the moment. We're only in our third quarter if you're actually looking into the thing, so we don't actually know what's going to happen. But it's 23. They estimate it will be 25, 26 by the end of the fourth quarter. The precepts are going up, as you all know. If you really want to know, it's 2.99% for the general precept, which is 3, and adult services levy is going up by 1.995%, which is 2%. So it's going up by 5% is your precept on the council. That's across the board. We've done it for you've actually looked at other councils, they're increasing it more. So those are the really two big things that I should tell you. Behind me, and I know how fond you all are of dear old Nigel Collar, is Peter Jarl, who is the divisional councillor who has been selected by the Conservative Association to replace Nigel at the next elections. So that's why Peter's come along now. Peter is born and bred in the district. His brother owns a farm in Elmsvale. He knows the district like the back of his hand and over a deal sandwich. So he is more Devorian district in a way than I am. I've only been here for 30 years. He's been here for how old are you now?
I've been here all of my life.
All his life. So that's up to you. So he's born and bred. So I know you've all loved Nigel. The powers to be have selected Peter, and that's why he's coming along tonight. And he'll come along to other ones. So just to understand how you're working with Nigel. Any questions on the KCC things? I would be willing to answer any.
No. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay. That's me. So I'll give up a little bit of update on district. My wife drove off with my report. You told me 7 years ago. So I've got a fairly good memory. So first, I'm sure you've heard in the press, we're no longer at DDC any overall control. So we was obviously obviously Labour have been in a bit of a sticky situation at the moment, which is obviously lovely for our ears, but not for some. So unfortunately, great for us, but obviously one of the Labour councillors come over to ourselves, so making us full 15 strong, and then Labour suspended one of their councillors due to whatever, so she's now an independent, so that now leaves Dover with 15 Labour, 15 Conservative and 2 independent, so it's really stalemate, exactly that stalemate, so hence what you see in the press this week with the enforcement stuff at Sandwich. We voted for it, Labour voted it down. I'm hoping that the two leaders will get together and sort of come up with some common sense grounds, because if not, unfortunately I can't see any real productive work happening for the next 2 years, if not. On the spin side of that, obviously you would have heard it with tides and all that sort of stuff, we are on Labour's back a lot, which is great. We've got some really good experience, obviously shadow cabinet members. So Labour done a complete U-turn on tides. I don't know if you sort of got the drift of that, literally what they was going to do. So tides was due to close in April this year, but the work wasn't starting for another 9 months. But due to obviously because of all the contracts and all the usage, it was literally just going to stop. And there's been groups and clubs in tides for like 20, 25, I think one of the ladies has been there 40 years. Right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, and it didn't necessarily, the bits that were being, the main part and the pool and all that sort of stuff was the bit that's obviously going to get renovated, but some of it can still continue and carry on. So anyway, so we had a U-turn on that, so the clubs, a lot of the gymnasium clubs and the tennis clubs and all that sort of stuff are going to carry on using it, so that's great. So that's really, really good. A little bit of update on sort of the fast track usage. Just come from Whitfield and they sort of disagreed with me, but right at the start it was getting sort of a usage of about 400 people a day from Whitfield, the fast track. Now £3 a route, some people with free bus passes and that sort of stuff, and it's obviously we're hoping that it will get some more usage. Obviously you do 400 people per day, doesn't give you a great sum when you're running 3 or 4 buses around every hour. So that's that. I'm just trying to think what else to update you on that's happening locally. There was you can always help me, Ollie, because you sent me a report. There was TAP, so there again, you probably noticed that TAP's been happening a lot more regularly in the town. There again, shadow cabinet members on that, we're trying to work on establish. TAP's been happening a lot more recently than it was sort of towards the end of last year and that sort of stuff. So
yeah, if I could just say on
you
that,
probably may know.
all of the 3 ferry companies had ferries away on refit during January. It's theoretically a quiet time, but all 3, and I'm one of those 3, we always take 1 or 2 ferries off during January for refit, which means we were 3 or 4 ferries short running out of Dover. Business was heavier than expected, and therefore TAP had to be used. So that's why it's more than at the end of the year, and it is because the ferry companies all had at least 1, if not 2 ferries away at the same time. There were 6 in total ferries undergoing refits during January, and that's obviously caused a problem.
It's your fault, Chair.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, 75% increase in TAP this year compared to last year.
Yep. But I say certainly January was a really difficult month. Part of the reason why I'm late here tonight, we're still trying to sort out the mess with our customers who we've cost a fortune to, the hauliers.
That's interesting, isn't it? I say it, and it just shows how something as simple as that can cause so much destruction and.
But that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
So that is really all I've got. Obviously, as Ollie just said, obviously local elections going ahead. Yeah, that's about it really. Jim, you got your money?
Thank you. Yes.
Chair, he just missed out on 2 points. First of all, because I've got his report that I sent him. Dover Training Day. So this is led by DC, funded through the Government UK Prosperity Fund. The council has brought together its education providers for a day of free workshops and tasting sessions. So Do you remember in the year they had workshops for unemployed down at the, I think this is now for kids basically, or do workplace, get kids back into work and other people back into work. So it's sort of Kent Adult Education, East Kent College, Dover College are coming together on Wednesday the 19th of February from 9:30 to 3:30 in workshops lasting 2 hours. So it's basically trying to get kids back into work. And there's something David mentioned the DDC budget that's coming out or has been released, but and the council tax is going up yet again by 2.98% or £6.39p per year. So I've told you how much is going up on KCC, it's going up on DDC as well. So it is all going up, even though Sir Keir Starmer said it's no council tax is going up. There is something called the Impact Fest, which is a free, fun-packed festival designed especially for young people aged 11 to 18, taking place at Penster Gardens on Saturday the 29th of March from 12:30 to 6 p.m. Impact Fest promises an exciting lineup of entertainment, activities and workshops, etc. Basically, it's all to do with community safety with the kids. So it's basically telling kids, so you've got Kent Police, you've got the Fabi Hubs, the Youth Engagement Team, the Network Rail, Kent and Membrane Violence Reduction Team. So it's all to do with encouraging kids not to sort of go into Manchester with a knife, but go into there with a smile on your face and shake people's hands.
That's exactly what I would have said if Amy did drive off with my
Those things I did actually give it to him, so we've worked together on that.
We do share it.
We do share it. Yes.
I would like to thank all three of you for coming. Very sad for me with Nigel. Nigel and I were at school together. He was a year ahead of me.
No, I did.
He was our head boy.
I do.
So it is sad, but welcome to the new boy. Yes.
Well, if he gets elected.
If he gets elected, well, yes, yeah.
That depends on Nigel Farage, I think.
Oh no! Oh gosh.
Exactly,
Not another Nigel. No.
Oh,
But no, thank all three of you. And David, thank you so much for the money for the planters and for your
Now
support.
where we are, if you need us, obviously, in between times. And Andrew, please do send us that and I will chase that up. Because I think that come to me to start off. But anyway, then we sort of forward to each other again.
And I will send you the bit of the report that he missed out. So you can just put it out there because I write out a report, so I can send you that.
Right. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe. Thank you.
I'll stay for the rest of the meeting, we've got business with these guys.
Thank you. Would it be possible, can we drop as a parish council, a note to, if Nigel's finished up, just to thank him for his...
Well, he finishes in May.
In May, yes, but I just feel that he has been very helpful to us, tried his best and quite often got answers for us. So I think possibly when he leaves, I would like to think that we just drop him a short note as a parish councillor to say thank you. Yeah. Right, parish councillors around the table, starting with Clive. Any? No?
No.
No.
Nope.
Just a giant pothole has suddenly appeared under the bridge at Kearsney.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned, and I actually went in through it on the way when you come down the slope before you turn left into the road. I think they had.
Just after that drain, because you come under there.
No,
that drain
I
was on
felt
the
it
page.
yesterday, and then somebody was talking about it.
By that drain.
But somebody's tyre actually went yesterday, and it's a really big, deep one actually.
If it's just a tyre, that's good, because quite often it's the suspension that, yes, it really is.
I
Right.
don't know how they'll deal with that one.
Nope. Pauline?
No.
Lovely. Right. Questions from the public. Mr. Hall? We did answer one from last meeting, but it wasn't a very good answer.
Well, you
We
can
don't
answer this
know.
one very quickly. Did Jean Thomas receive her community award?
No, I have it. I've seen Peter because she hadn't been very well. So it's in my car. I picked up from you last week. I have it in my car, but I actually bumped into him, which was nice. And I said, look up, and he said, just give her a few days. So I have it. It's in my car. It'll be given to her on Thursday, providing she's well enough. Yep.
Fine.
Yep.
And what about this year's award? When is that decided?
Who is going to receive it?
No,
Oh, when is
That's
it
up to you,
decided?
it's,
Yes, yeah. I don't.
Is there a specific
We
time?
decided who it is.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, sorry, that's, I did allude to that, sorry, yeah, that was the cryptic message with regard to that item. We had to get that in, you've already submitted that,
yes,
have you not?
it's been submitted, yeah, it's 7th of February,
February.
the deadline for it, so
Yep,
it's been
but it has gone in.
Good, good. Now the other question is, this afternoon I made a big mistake by driving past here to go along Lewisham Road. And as I come past here, parked on each side of the junction with Common Lane was a car. One this side, one that side, parked on double yellow lines, so anyone coming up Common Lane could not see either way when pulling out. Is it ever policed?
Is it ever,
The
well,
traffic wardens come out, don't they, and all that, what often?
No.
They do that on the round for the 54
Yeah.
schools
Never in the
that
rain.
they've got, so they do it.
We hope that twice a month
Police,
is
twice a month,
about
yeah.
twice a month is hopefully the times that they come out, but they've got to do all of the schools in the district, so that's on average what they do.
It was just a bit,
That's at least
it was so obvious as I drove
Yeah.
past, I
Yeah.
thought,
Yeah.
any person coming up there.
And completely unsighted,
I wonder
yes.
if a lollipop person could actually make a note of car registrations if they are
Is that-
parking illegally. I
If
don't
that's-
know.
If that's on the corner, that's obstruction, which is
Exactly.
usually
Absolutely,
police.
absolutely it was.
Well, no,
Bang on each corner.
is it obstruction? It used to be.
I don't know.
No, it's no longer, it's no longer obstruction, it's no longer, they can park right on the junction.
Really?
Yes, you look at when football's here and they say they're powerless,
Yeah,
No.
on the pavement, can't park, you can park on the pavement too, in places.
I think you can't have
but
But
it's,
if you
it's,
remember,
It was
if
one
you
of them,
remember,
they put the double yellow lines
That's why
around,
we
when they
have
put
the
them all
double
up on the
yellow
ridgeway,
lines.
they put them around the corners at the bottom of
Yep.
Double Lane, and that was to stop people parking.
Yes,
on the-
yeah.
But then it can be enforced.
it can be enforced, but without that, it used to be, as Pauline said, it was an
Yes,
offence.
it is.
You were so many yards, not meters, it was yards from there, or feet possibly even.
And there's
But,
no double yellow lines there, is there?
no,
Is there?
well, there are on some
No.
now, we've,
When I spoke to the traffic warden when they were, parking enforcement, when they were visiting the Ridgeway, when the lines were put in, they said, oh, it's on our list to do once a fortnight. So it's hit and miss, isn't it, whoever is around.
I mean,
Their list is
would
general,
it
so
make
it's
sense
all
just to
sides.
drop a note through to DDC and ask them, their parking enforcement officers to obviously
Extra visit.
just keep an eye out for that as well when they're here looking at the school.
Yes, they see them coming along, because they have to come along with their marked van,
Yep.
and they all start moving.
Yes, I know, but sorry,
you,
Clark.
you know, you did well to bring this up again, but I remember at the last meeting we had a letter from a local resident, Mr. Marsden, who I don't know how long he's been in River, but he complained about the same thing. Andrew gave a very full explanation of this and this problem and the fact that we've been addressing this or trying to address it unsuccessfully for 10 years or more. It's irresolvable. Well, it's impossible to resolve it the way things stand at the moment, in my opinion. Sad, but impossible.
Sad, but I say it's not just River. You go near any school in Dover, you will find exactly the same problem, and any school in any town in the UK you'll find the same problem. That doesn't make it right.
But that's not to criticise you for raising it. You understand?
Certainly not. No, that's why I said if we could just say to DTC, can they just, when they're here, keep an eye on that as well, Andrew. Actually, Mr. Hall, I do appreciate you bringing it up, and I certainly will bring it to the attention of DDC. Yep.
I think there's a little bit of...
Both those cars, if they'd moved back
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also on the double yellow lines, even if they're parked on double yellow lines,
Would be visibility.
the person coming up would have a better view pulling out.
Yeah, but they don't think about anything else other than themselves, and have to walk of the least amount possible. I mean, you notice, you may have noticed, that parking for the school now extends regularly along Chiltern Way, as far as
Coxhill Gardens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you notice that half an hour later it's completely gone. So I just personally, I don't think it's resolvable. Sad, but sorry.
Yep, no, right. Item 7, planning matters.
We had one planning matter. Yeah, and that's the nursing home, opposite Co-op. They want to do some more external cladding, which we looked at it earlier, it does look quite good.
Yeah, it looks good.
It does actually, yeah, because they've done some, they want to
Really
extend it.
considered the area, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's something that will help with
Yeah,
everything
it's
else.
online.
Yeah.
Do we know what they're going to use for the
Doesn't
cladding?
do anything to it.
Yeah. I mean, has anyone got any comments for it or against it? I'm sure no one's against it, but.
No, but did they specify what they were going to use for the cladding and whether it's fire resistant?
It has to be when it goes to
It
planning,
does,
they has to be, there are certain regulations now, obviously. Yeah, and they look at, they
I
have
think
to.
it's really in keeping.
Yeah,
It's
it's lovely.
muted colours. It looks
Yeah,
Yep.
it does. It will look quite smart,
smarts
this
up that
finish.
Yes.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, right. No
You just
comments
need
on
to
that
stop
one?
with
No
the
comment? No?
documents.
Okay.
Yeah, get rid of the mattresses from the
Any decisions on that?
Yes, I have 2 decisions.
Looks nice. Yeah, go with that.
So yes, two decisions. 24/01265 95 Lewisham Road, which was formation of vehicular access and parking, that was granted. And 64 Valley Road, creation of a new access driveway and retaining walls, that was granted as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
most of it.
Right, moving on. Recreation ground, not a lot to report. The weather's been absolutely diabolical. We've not had, it's nowhere near dry enough to reconcrete the fencing, so that still needs to be done. And the tennis courts, we're trying to find somebody that can actually help with that sort of fencing. It's the tennis club have drawn a blank, they can't find anyone, so's John Hill. There must be someone that does fence it. It's
The high fences, I think.
the high fencing is going the far end. It's got to be done.
There's no one,
Well, we're struggling to find someone.
They use it now. I wonder what they used up Connaught Park, because they've just done the tennis court up, haven't they?
Right.
Yeah, they've used it. I'll see if I can find out.
If you could, yes, we need someone desperately because there is work that needs doing. But other than that, recreation ground matters. No, the rec cafe is open far more regularly, and I like it. Even if they are going to close slightly early, there's a note that morning to say that we're going to close at 1:30, but we'll be open again tomorrow. We've had not a single issue with the toilets being left open or closed, so they definitely have taken that on in a responsible way.
They got a bit more used to the Saturday mornings, didn't they?
Yes. Oh yes. Yes.
First they
Yes.
were kind of
Well, they've got
shell-shocked.
the
from
fixture.
it.
They've got a fixture card now. They know when to expect them.
Yeah.
Yes, but no.
Must have
So
been a bit of a shock the
very
first
little
time.
to report on the wreck. I mean, it's still even this time of the year looks amazing.
Is there an update on the equipment for the fitness equipment, that one that needs fixing?
Oh, it's been replaced.
It's been
Oh,
done.
yeah, it's done.
Yes.
Well,
That's-
yeah, it's quite expensive.
Oh,
Yeah.
That before last.
That was the meeting before last, I think.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
seriously. Yes. Yeah.
something's working then, okay.
No, everything is
Yeah, there's
everything.
a topic about
That
that.
one thing wasn't working.
Yeah, they fixed it.
I'll try that out again. Maybe I'll.
Yeah.
Chair, do you want a quick, would you like me to give a quick update on funding? And
Yes,
what I've
yes,
explored so far?
yes, yes.
So I think the big challenge is twofold. One is obviously Andrew's going to send me everything that he's got, and you've got to overcome barriers of being allowed to do the work anyway. But there are two issues. The first one is that a lot of different funders who would be suitable won't give to parish councils because they see it as statutory. So we might have to think about, as a committee, setting ourselves up with another organisation or as a community interest company to apply for some funds, one. And then secondly, for any application, because it's a community-based space, we would have to show footfall, so numbers over a certain period of time, and consultation as well. So what I'd like to suggest is when we have the fate that we do a consultation as part of this around what the community would like to use it for and how they use it and how important it is, because a lot of the applications, if you want to submit for it, and we're doing match money, we have to justify the need for it, and that we have consulted with the community who would be using it and why it's important for the health and safety and whatever about the use of it.
Would Rangers be a partner?
It could be any organisation. If it's a community group, then we could do it with them, and then we can do the application, say that we're giving contribution, and then they would put in the application as a community group. That's one way. We can do it if we set ourselves up or with another organisation as a kind of community interest company. That's quite straightforward and has minimal liability. And the other option would be to just do it with a friends of the rep or some other kind of group like that. So for example, the co-op is a really good option. It's currently closed, but it happens every year, but that will take a year to get to. Kent Community Foundation is another one, and we would hit the targets of children and young people and the environment on that, but we'd have to negotiate with them, and they would have to then decide whether they would support a joint, an application from a parish council with somebody else. Some of them won't take it, like the postcode lottery, which is a shame because they're really into supporting local community things. There are some community there's some which are, if you're near a miner's, kind of an ex-mine place or a quarry or a land use place. That's another one. Nauk actually has a green spaces grant as part of the national lottery. You have to get it in by the 7th of March, or we have to wait another 6 months before you can do that one, so we might have missed the boat on that one. And then I also got a kind of list of parish council applications that you can make, so I can explore them in more detail to see. But I'll need the information. But I would need evidence of footfall and how often it would be needed and what kind of numbers and what the needs are, and then also some kind of a community consultation as well.
Is that a survey that we might need to consider paying for then, for it to be professionally done?
No, it doesn't have to be that. No, they don't mind that kind of thing. It can be just all of us going to the fair and asking questions, or when there's a football match on, saying, okay, how much do you miss not having proper loos? What are the, what would you like to use the space for? That kind of thing.
Well, that's why I wondered with Rangers whether we ought to look at doing something jointly. If they're the body that can get the funding. I mean, they're doing well from the FA and that already. It may be a sore point, but I may ask them to speak to the FA about possible assistance for funding that.
One of the options is I'd rather go, like I said to you, match funding from a number of different sources, of say £5,000 to £10,000 from each, and Football Foundation is one of the options, for example, and the FA might be another one. But because it is a community space, it's not just about the football.
Oh no, I mean, we're obviously looking at it for the village, but I think it's very difficult to get footfall. I mean, we've got to say, right, we could use it for Pilates, we can use it for yoga, we can use it for this. But actually, we could come up with a massive footfall until it's open, and then there isn't a footfall. I'm certain if we said could it be used, I think you'll find yes, it can be used a number of times. Well, many times. Yeah, we want to use it. Football are desperate to use it of a weekend.
So that's what when I'm talking about football, I'm saying on a Saturday or a Sunday, let's get an idea of numbers and who would use it on that day, kind of thing. But then when you've got other communities, then you open it wider and you're asking, we have this facility, we want to improve it. What other things would you like us to have? If the village hall is already running Pilates and Tai Chi and boxing and whatever.
There's a shortage of hall space in and
that's
around
fine.
Dover.
Well, then that would be the argument
Yes.
for it, you know, but we have to
Yep.
show that there's demand and it's community led, that there's a need, that's all.
In terms of surveys, as I was going to say, I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel and just look at the initial consultation results.
Sorry, but that's just like, sorry,
That's
you
fine.
know,
It's
I
all
just
right,
found
all
that
right for
very
me.
weak, I found that very weak.
That's why I said about
Only
the
online, you know, no.
Well, I
kind
don't
of
think we do it
face-to-face.
online.
Yeah.
We could use some of these questions and
Yeah, we could.
actually ask people face to face, either on a, like
Football
Yeah.
day or
football day and
yeah.
obviously the.
It needs to be on a variety of days.
Exactly,
not
different
just
times,
not
and
just
different
days.
days.
So those-
That's what I
those
mean by the
Yes.
football.
Or, you know, where your locality and your age group.
Mornings,
and what is it,
afternoons.
and,
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
That's
So
what they would like
what
to
is it
do.
you need from Andrew then?
So I need basically the information around what you want to apply for and what you'd like the money for, and then any kind of background information that you have about the site and what it could be used for, what's allowed and not allowed, and what your plans were originally when you got stuck, you know.
Yeah.
And then I can use that to try and build up a basic proposal, which I can then share with everybody for them to be happy with. But I'm saying I need that kind of data as well.
No, Andrew, you.
I can,
Yeah.
that's all
No,
right.
it's just
Yeah.
I'm obviously looking at time,
Yeah.
and time is against us because that changing room is in a terrible state. We need to move forward one way or t'other,
Yeah.
sooner rather than later.
Yeah. It
And
might
we're-
have to be phased. So once you get the permissions and the allowance, we have a budget already, and we start phase one. But because a lot of the funders as well will like the fact that we're match funding it, you know. And they will need our, if it's the Rangers who are leading it, fine, but they will want to see our cash flow forecast and they want to see our budget to actuals, how much money we have, why aren't we using the money we already have? If we have money, why are we spending it on Kearsney, playgroup rather, or playgrounds? Why aren't we investing it in the rec? You know, it's that kind of thing. So we have to show a justification for everything that we're doing, that's all.
Yep. But I say my worry is it's a time scale.
Yeah.
We're dropping back and we're dropping
Yeah,
back.
yeah. Most of these are 3 month turnarounds.
Yep.
So it's not too difficult.
But that's why I wondered if Rangers is maybe if we need someone independent or not a parish council, they would naturally support us enormously because they're the certainly
main users
the
of
main
it.
users. Yes.
Fine. Okay, that's good to know.
Right. Okay, so Andrew, if I could, I know you're busy, but if you could make that some sort of priority so that we can move forward. Yep.
We should really. And not open, it doesn't have to be open ended because the issue you were saying last time when you did something was they wanted swimming pools and all sorts of
Yes.
Oh.
you don't do open ended, you do
But-
you do these
Oh,
five
they'll
options
come
that
up.
are viable.
That was
yeah.
like a poster where
Yeah.
They'll come up
But
with
maybe
ideas.
we could integrate it into the programme, like a few questions, you know.
Oh, the fake program.
Fake.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
that's
Yes.
right.
No, great.
Yeah.
It's just
It
And
goes
you
on
just
the
go
same
around with a
page.
clipboard
Yep.
and ask it old fashioned style, you know, and engage and chat with
Because
us.
obviously we're always about shorthand.
Right.
Questionnaires done into the cafe and
Yeah,
put
you
the
could as
box
well,
with it.
absolutely.
Yep.
Or when they're all sitting around anyway watching the football, you can just ask them some questions.
Yeah,
It's not
tick
hard.
boxes.
Yeah.
right. Moving on, item 9, financial matters. Andrew.
Right, I've got a copy of the. Yeah, apologies for the one I sent out. The first page was.
Meeting full of apologies, Andrew, isn't it?
Yeah.
Me for being late.
it pulled the first page of my reports out rather than the pages I wanted to. But the rest of it was fine.
Trying to spot a deliberate mistake, is it?
Yes, it is. Yes, I'm checking to see if you've read it.
Eagle
Or not.
eye.
But the rest of it was fine. It was so.
It's totally different figure. Looking at it on my phone, the page one is definitely different.
Yes, it's definitely a different figure. Yeah. But it's, I'm trying to find my copy of it. So. Give you in a second.
This one.
Okay, so obviously it's the income for the month of January was basically just the cafe lease and office lease. We are receiving payment for utilities now, but that for January it came in February, so
Yes, yeah,
next
we're
month
getting
that is
good.
being received. And then the payment costs for January, expenditure costs for January, standard electrical supply, handyman, cleaning, etc. The play area repairs that we keep talking about, another big bill for that. We had tree works done via our groundwork contractors, which was work on 2 or 3 trees in the on the border with Mannering Close. The bill for our external audit came in very, very late. I was wondering where that had happened to, but they submitted it in the end, even though the work was done in whenever it was, May, June. Our quarterly play area inspection, and then there were actually two groundwork payments. One was for the month before. It didn't go through in December, so it went through at the beginning. So there's 2 monthly payments there. Refuse, and then we're discussing with Robin the mower that he was using was kind of had it and required either a lot of work or a replacement, and he got a deal on this very nice new one. So I think it was agreed that he get a new mower.
The other one needed nearly £200 spent on it, and we would have still had a 5-6-year-old mower which he'd run into the ground. It's worked hard.
So
That's not for cutting the wreck though.
that's for 299 then, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then obviously the next pages include the bank statements, which your digital copy includes the bank statements. I haven't printed them all here, so that shows that the reconciliation is correct, it all works out.
How are we doing on VAT?
Yeah, a bit of a backlog over a year or so, but
So
yeah, that needs
what sort of money is that?
probably in the region of £10,000.
So a lot of money, yes. Yeah.
Can I just ask one question about, so you've got the instant access and the current account.
Yeah.
Is it worth thinking about high interest accounts, potentially, to get a bit of interest on,
Well,
if you've got 50, you know?
yeah, we get a reasonable amount of interest on that account. I think we had £500 in. We've had more, probably £1,500 of interest in the last year or so.
I'm just wondering what the interest rate is, because I know that there are.
It has. I did look at the interest rates, and yes, there were ones that were slightly better, but not by an enormous amount.
Okay,
Plus
fine.
percent.
It's gone down by about a quarter of a point.
Yeah.
But the problem was that if it was it had to be from another provider, and then we've got the problem of transferring money when we need it.
Yeah.
So I thought the best idea was to keep it in the same bank, and then it's easy to transfer, so we can keep the maximum amount possible.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have to transfer large sums of money across to keep us going.
Bank has high interest accounts as well. I mean, okay, you can't access it for 30 days or something, but you know, if it doubles the interest, that's helpful.
I think the better ones, but we're not enormously better though. We're only about 1%.
Right, that's
Hang on,
fine.
a quick question. Snap Fitness and the outstanding sponsorship money. You said you had sent off another invoice to the manager there.
Yes, I have
you
received.
had any
yes,
response at all?
yes, I have. I've received the payment. That came in a few days
Good,
ago.
'cause I'm there tomorrow. Yeah, okay, good. You've got
yes,
money.
yes,
I'm
I've
very
received
pleased
that,
about that because I think there are potential for next year. But I was worried they'd done a dirty on us.
All right, yeah, no, they've come up with it.
In that case, I shall retain my membership. That's good news.
I thought you were going to pump yourself up and then go and see him.
I'm well beyond the age of muscle gain, I can assure you.
Lovely. Right, so actually, the money, we have a substantial amount of money in the bank because we're aware that we are looking to well, spend a considerable amount of it sorting all this. Yeah. Right, thank you for that, Andrew. Right, we saw the presentation from DDC. I suggest we all think about it. We put it on as a agenda item for next month, and we discuss it fully then. Because we've obviously seen what is being suggested. I didn't have time enough to take into account the drawings, the equipment, etc. But I think if we give ourselves, half an hour at the next meeting to definitely discuss this and decide what we do or don't do.
There's just one thing I'd like to mention about that because it was recorded in the minutes of the last meeting that about the meeting that one or two of us attended with Dover District Council at Kearsney Abbey about the play area, and it was agreed to ask them to attend as it happened today. But as regard of financial contribution from the Parish Council, no figure was discussed, and someone from or the clerk had asked if someone from DDC Open Spaces would be prepared to, I'm reading this from the minutes, to be a signatory for the community use agreement relating to the proposed community meeting room on the ground floor of Flint House. Now, two things arise from that. First of all, a figure of £15,000 has mysteriously appeared, which wasn't mentioned at that meeting at all. Seeking circa £15,000. As regards that, I would suggest that what we do, we include in this discussion how much it's likely to cost. And I know that it's got to go out to tender, but we could use as a starting point the figures that we've got and seek some sort of clarification of the figure that we can afford, because we do not want to find ourselves in a position where it's all very well to sort of say, well, we've got bags of money and all the rest of it, but this tender is going to this work is going to cost a lot of money, and rather than sort of just go along with £15,000 just simply because it's suddenly appeared, it was not discussed at that meeting that we had in
sorry, Clive. I mean, none of us responded to the 15,000. I think we were all surprised by it. They said it was a like for like. Other towns have done a similar thing. But Also, they were going to discuss, or they were aware of the planning problems we had, and I thought that in some way, shape or form was
Well,
going to, they were going to, there was not a mention of that, they were going to
No.
help us
That's-
with regard to the lack of planning.
That's why
Yeah.
I asked, and the person responsible for it is a chap called Harvey Rudd.
Yeah.
He's the legal person at Dover District Council, and everybody keeps saying, oh, it's Harvey, it's got to be sort of run by Harvey. And Harvey Rudd is the main obstacle in this respect. And until that thing is signed, I don't care what is said, you know, this scheme of ours about conforming that meeting room isn't going anywhere. And that bloke is the one that keeps getting blamed for it. And we asked, or rather I asked, at that meeting in Kearsney Abbey last month, I asked if there's something that they could do to hurry this along, because this has a direct bearing on what we decide next month, whether when we're talking about £15,000.
No, Clive, 15,000, we're not discussing that. We will decide what we think we can or cannot afford.
That's
but
fair enough.
the 15,000 is something they've conjured up.
Yes.
But they also said, and it was minuted at that meeting, that they would have a word with regard to this planning thing, and they've done nothing.
Well, if I remember rightly, Harvey is a legal guy.
Yes, he is.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
So
But everybody's frightened of it.
Why is he holding it up then?
He has to go through everything, all the agreements, and if he doesn't like it, he sends it back to change the wording.
He's the one that's frightened.
Where we are now, Andrew, is that Sport England now have agreed, in principle. It's gone back to DDC because what Sport England wanted was DDC to be a counter-signatory on the agreement, you said to me, and it's Harvey that's now said, oh well, DDC wants this, this and this, and brought up 101 different items, which Andrews now, we have a parish council that paid for this pre-planning meeting, which still hasn't taken place, to resolve it. And I just don't know what we do. We're waiting, and it's DDC. But for me, they're two completely unrelated matters. Clive is right, we can only spend money once, and my worry is, yes, we've got a good strong bank balance at the moment, but it's because we're terrified that we're going to pick up a massive bill on the changing rooms, and that's why we've asked you to look at other ways of helping to do it. But we keep pussyfooting around with DDC, but we're getting absolutely nowhere. As I understand it, Sport England now have agreed the agreement that Andrew sent in. It then went to Harvey Rudd, who said, if we've got to be counter-signatories, I don't like this, I don't like this, and I want this, and that's what we've got. We're having this meeting for.
Yeah. I think they're frightened of it. But anyway, I suggest that what we do, we simply ignore that £15,000.
Well, it's only their suggestion.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
We ignore it.
yeah.
Well, I would think Harvey, is probably protecting the council's interest, then, that way, don't
Well, he is.
He's protecting his own interests, I think.
Well, I know that he's got to see him doing his job properly.
The play area and the downstairs, the planning, two completely separate issues. Obviously, financially, we've got to make certain we've got enough to do what we need to do. But we will discuss the play area. But no, I was going to ask Pauline, can we, Andrew, able to push this forward with DDC and demand that we have a meeting? It's months, we paid for it. We paid for it.
Years.
Why do you say you want a refund otherwise?
Well, as
Just quickly,
it stands at the moment, this pussyfooting around, as Nick said, or the chairman said, it will cost this
30 or 40,000
parish
pounds.
council, it will
Yes.
cost us
Yeah.
a building regulation application fee,
Yeah.
because the building
It's gone out
regulation
Yep, yep.
application that was approved hasn't been started,
So it's lapsed.
obviously, and it's lapsed. So we've got to make another building regulation approval. I mean, this bloke, it's
What can we do, Pauline? What can we
We
do?
need to get-
How can we push this forward?
Who did you?
Who's the councillor who leads the committee that he's accountable to?
I don't think there is one.
There must be one.
Exactly.
Legal and planning, is it legal and planning, what section is it?
He's fine. He's the legal solicitor, so he doesn't answer to a committee.
He's
He answers to.
But he
he's
recommends to a
responsible to
committee.
himself.
No.
Yeah, but all council officers have to be accountable to some councillor. No?
No, they don't.
Or
They're counsel to the president. The
It's-
team is there.
It's a scandal.
Yeah.
What
Well, I think we
what
will
can
be
we
accountable to his
what-
legal.
what can we do? How
professional
can we
body,
push
isn't it?
I
this?
think we ought to write to Nadine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have, in the last month, I've written twice to the planning officer.
Mm-hmm.
The problem that
Part-time.
Sport England said in an email that they did not require the community use agreement to be signed prior to them reconsulting and removing their objection,
Right.
because it will be one of the conditions of them removing their objection will be that certain conditions are placed on the planning permission. One of those being the community use agreement. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a condition anyway.
Yeah.
So they don't need it signed
Before.
in advance.
No.
The problem is getting DDC to reconsult with Sport England. If they then remove their objection, the planning application can go through and they can pass it.
Right.
But the problem is getting an answer
Do
from
you want to
planning.
send me a quick synopsis of that?
Yeah.
I'll see if I can-
Would you mind, Pauline, if you could make an absolute priority, because it's ridiculous how long this has gone on for.
But this chap's name comes up
Oh, yes,
time
yeah.
and time again.
It's not the only system that works.
No,
Parish
exactly. He
Council,
obviously
there's four
specialises
of
in
them
that.
work.
But he's
Yeah.
He's a senior.
He's a senior one.
Everything has to go
And he's
through.
rather like the there's no dean, there's no, he answers to him possibly,
He does.
but he doesn't answer to anyone
It's
else.
a fiefdom basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
So I
Ah.
think that when we discuss this and come back next meeting, that hopefully, although I'm not very hopeful about it, but hopefully this. You see, the thing is, Dover District Council need to sign 2 planning applications. One for the upstairs, which is the change of use into an office, and the second one is for the ground floor, which is for the change of use to form a meeting room with all the other attendant sort of facilities. And they won't sign it until this bloke is sorted out.
Yeah, right, sorry, so you're
Send
going
me a
to,
quick
Andrew,
synopsis of what we've
Pauline,
got and
please,
I'll
number one
yeah,
priority.
I'll do that.
It's ridiculous.
Right,
You may have to go and see him.
10, to receive an update on River Dower initiatives.
I'm very conscious we had a very full agenda tonight, even though I was vaguely absent from some of it. So what I'm going to be is very succinct. And I'm going to talk about the initiatives I think we could take for River Dower in terms of conservation for 2025. But I thought on behalf of our new members, I might just briefly reprise the report that I wrote in 22 so that everyone can see the Dower in context. And I apologise, I have to do it from notes because when you're dealing with every aspect from hydrology to ecology, it's a bit complicated. But the good news is the Dower is not a beleaguered stream. If you take into the aspect that we have very good water quality here, and that's evident by the population of brown trout, which only survive in the clearest water. in terms of the Southern Water and their discharge of storm drains, we have 3 on the river. They're very low down from Buckland to Mason Dewar. 2 of them are monitored and I keep an eye on them. And whilst it's absolutely no way we should have any form of untreated sewage discharge into the Dow, they're not a really high serious amount. We shouldn't have it, but we do. And the other aspect is that when you have the storm drains at the lower end of the river, at the confluence with the channel, it means that the 4 miles from Alcombe down here is not polluted by the effluent. So I mean that's the grace of God that helps us. Okay. So the Environment Agency has assessed the Dow as moderate. They have 3 categories: poor, moderate, and good. Sadly, in this country, only 16 to 18% of streams and rivers are in the good category, which is a major ecology issue. Now, so I have to. They regard the Dow as a highly modified urban stream, which is its heritage and industry. There's no way that stream is ever going to be naturalised back to a natural chalk stream. This is mainly because the infrastructure is so massive that the cost efficiency of removing it is just out of just simply not possible. We have seen some initiatives behind Halfords for a new fish pass there, because one of the big issues with the Dow is it hasn't got connectivity, which means fish migration is very limited. So let's take the example from the mill down to the weir on Pravel Lane. If that was heavily poached and fish and every trout was taken out of there, it'd be very difficult for other fish to migrate into that area. So connectivity is an issue. However, on the river stretch, we're far better off than we are in Temple Ewell, which is a very poor stretch of the river, because if you take from the lakes down from Kearsney over the weir, there's still a minor fish pass there, so we go right the way down to the mill, and that's the longest stretch of the Dow we have with any connectivity, so that's a positive. Let's just go back to my notes. The negatives are, of course, generic to any chalk stream river. It's abstraction, water source. From the groundwaters up at Alcombe, there are 2 boreholes there. Affinity Water are currently taking out 31 million litres of water a day, That accounts for 12 Olympic swimming pools full. Over 5 days, you will find that the water extracted from the Dow would equate to what a national household in the UK would use in a year. Now, the holy grail in the whole conservation world about chalk streams is what is sustainable abstraction, because there's absolutely no way we're going to ever reverse the fact that we take the water from rivers and the headwater, use it for domestic consumption, and then discharge treated waste at the other end of the river. Now, no one's come up with a better solution yet than that, and I believe that's something we have to live with. But all the conservation efforts are to define what is sustainable. The only sad issue is that despite, and I'll come on to you here about the stakeholders we're working with, is that during the Conservative government we should have had an agreement on a restoration project by 2050 to put chalk streams back to natural state. However, with change of government, that's now been abandoned. And I have been working with CABA, you'll see on my list here, who were very much the ones writing that programme. So there's no actual government initiative now to push forward on that. The other issue we have with the Dow is that we lost all of the good aquatic weed in here, the roundness or water crowfoot. That's very important because in terms of low flow, and the Dow has been designated as a watercourse of very sensitive watercourse with low flow, is that when you've got the weed, it keeps the levels up. Particularly here, because we've got so much canalised stretch, which is all designed to get the water down the river as quickly as possible to drive the mills. Now, over 4 years that's disappeared, and I haven't had an exact definition of why it's not there at the moment, but if you, the you guys take a look at that. That was the river 6 years ago in my back garden. You could see the verdant growth of ranunculus there. Now right through have got a completely blank channel. It is a very fickle weed. It is very much dependent on light and other aspects and flow. So basically, that's disappeared. The other aspect is that provides all the invertebrates for trout food and also feeds the ducks. So that's the context. Now I would just like to let you all have a very brief copy of what I think we could do this year. One between two of those wobbling.
One between two.
No, I think I've just about had enough with my printer. There we go. I know. Thanks.
I think we've got one coming.
I think it's two there. Okay. This will be very brief. Anyone short of PCP?
We're all right.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. When I started looking at this, I said empowerment through collaboration. Is that we need a totally holistic approach. We can't do this on our own. So I'm hoping that we can find some cross partnership with Temple Ewell and Alcombe Parish Council because they're upstream of us, and I think that our voice and the stakeholders I'll name in a minute is very important because I'm the only actual voice besides Whitecliffs who talk about the Dow. Obviously it's conservation and restoration is a target. We need to create a chalk stream community and citizen projects, which we don't have currently in River, although WCP and Dover have that in spades, if that's not mixing my metaphors. And we need to introduce, if we do get new partners aboard with parish councils, Alcombe and Temple Ewell, we need them to get involved with the stakeholders we have here. I won't describe all of them, but you can see that we actually connected in the loop with all of those people now. And they're people that, most of the meetings are virtual, but we have that connectivity with them now. So moving forward, I think the short-term objectives is to engage the Wild Trout Trust, which I've been a member of 7 years, who did a report on it down 2008 from Kearsney down to Dover, and they are absolutely superb in habitat management. Okay, they're a charity and they're funded. They're an NGO or stakeholder. There's a lot of valuable information I have in here, but they would come down and walk over our stretch of the river within our boundary and say, look, if we have a citizen project, how do we do it and where do you do it? Now, as a charity, they don't charge me for their time or their report, simply, 45p a mile for their mileage. And our nearest officer is 200 miles away, which kind of shows sort of their commitment to chalk streams. So I think for about £105 initially in April, when we are allowed to go in the stream, because at the moment, with all the trout eggs and all the spawning, we don't go in there. Come down in April, walk down the river, literally in the channel, and say, look, there's opportunities here for habitat improvement, okay, and then take it from there to see what we can do and on what level we could go at, okay. There are 2 levels. If we start putting anything in a channel to deflect flow or everything, the Environment Agency will immediately tell us that, look, we have to have a flood risk assessment, but I won't go into the detail of that. It's down to WTT to talk to us about that at a later stage, okay? So we could do that. I have a meeting with Whitecliffs on the 18th of February to talk about funding opportunities for that exercise. I'm not necessarily talking about how we receive the money, as you were talking earlier, but it's about the source of that money, okay? And also about the Environment Agency relationship, because at the moment the relationship is virtual. When I meet them at East Kent other meetings, we're not having a one-to-one, and I want to try and put that right, because with our last catchment officer, we had that. The problem with the EA is that they're underfunded and they're very stretched, and our officer has changed 3 times in 3 years, but so I need to address that. We need to try and have face-to-face meetings with Temple Ewell and Alcombe. I don't know if any response came from the letters we sent out, possibly about some sort of confederation.
Well, I had a response from Temple Ewell saying that there wasn't anyone on the council who had a particular interest.
Right.
And so the clerk said basically just write to him. I'll send you this. So write to him, and then presumably he'll bring it up at the next meeting, and we'll see what comes out from that. Whether anyone wants to
I think
join
that's
in.
interesting. 2008, the whole Temple Ewell section dried up, and all the brown trout died. And I don't even think there's any brown trout in there because you can't restock that type of water there. So we're much more fortunate they are, but I think they should take an interest.
Did we hear back from Auckland?
Well, Auckland I'm still waiting.
Because they're normally quite.
Yeah, quite fun.
Yeah. I mean, she may well come back to me in the next couple of days. But one of the interesting things was that they have a green spaces and environment group on the council as one of their committees. So presumably there is an interest there. So hopefully they'll come back with a positive response.
I hope so. I think if we get more voices within the stakeholders, that will help us. Okay, so that's pending. The other aspect is just below the mill. We've talked about the overhanging trees on the stream there. The Environment Agency will not get involved with that. The only time the EA get involved with tree work is if there's something in the stream or blocking the way, which is a flood risk. So what we need to do is to approach the management company who look after that estate to say that we suggest you do some, prudent tree management there.
Is this mill race?
No,
Kingston Close, is
done.
it?
That took 5 years.
I think it's
to
a
get that
Kingston
done.
Close area. It's
It's
Kingston.
above Mill Race. It's just below the weir on the border of Kingston Close, where you've got the narrow Mill Race coming down from the stream. That stream would benefit having more light in there. It's not major work. You don't have to take it all the way back, but I mean that's just a small thing because we've done it in the Mill Race estate after the 5 years of badgering. And that's really opened up the stream, and I've already noticed that trout are coming back into that section there.
Oh, it's made a big difference.
It has,
Yes.
So I think that we could give them a gentle reminder. It might be a good solution. So kind of the mission statement for the Dow 2025 is trying to get the environment, the community more involved. That we have something of great value in terms of ecological value. Kind of get more involvement through a system way, and also to look at funding for any exercise we might undertake. So that's where we're at for now, and I'll have more updates for the next meeting.
Wonderful. So at this the survey costs of 120.
Yeah.
We need to discuss that again at the next meeting. Yes, because
I'll have the terms and conditions.
Thank you.
Which I'll leave
Yes.
with Andrew, just to make sure there's nothing onerous in there.
Thank you.
Okay.
brilliant. Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much. Yeah. Right. General correspondence. Oh no. To discuss the NOC Civility and Respect project.
Yes, I hope you all, I haven't actually printed anything out, but I hope you all received the information that I sent you.
Yep.
It is a campaign that now has been running for some time, just seeking to improve general behaviour amongst parish councils, councillors, officers, members of the public, and just they're looking for everyone to sign the pledge as being part of their policy. So I don't know what anyone...
Have you all read it well enough?
Started at the House of Commons. Start at the top.
We all saw the video.
Yes. No, have we all studied it sufficiently enough?
We have,
Yes.
So I mean, if the council wishes to adopt that, I think we'll just take a proposer and to agree it if he wishes to adopt and sign the pledge. I'm not sure what exact what you sign, but I mean,
You're not joining the Foreign Legion, mate.
It's not a guilty total, that's fine.
well, that's right.
So can we actually do that this evening?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, if you are interested.
Would someone like to propose that we accept it?
Yeah, I'm happy to go with it.
Yep.
No, I think it's second.
Right. If I could ask for a show of hands to confirm. Yep. There we are. We agree. We're in. Right. General correspondence. Oh, we starting your thunder. DDC bus shelter. We know.
No,
Yes.
That's. I didn't realise it was their shelter. I thought it was stagecoach.
No.
Until you read that letter, I had
A lot
nothing.
of people thought that.
Yes.
Yeah, as I say, it's
And I think David Beanie was a bit embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay, what, £15,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't cost that.
Yeah, the only other piece I've got on there is there's a draft Kensington Medway Local Nature Recovery Strategy consultation, which I can send you around the link for if anyone's interested in looking at.
I know I went to a meeting with regard to funding, and Kent County Council were there and Medway, and it was done. I know this is obviously, I thought was a lead up to devolution, and they've sort of is that nothing? Why now is it? We went to a meeting. KCC were there. They called it, but it was chaired by Medway and KCC.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're going to have a problem trying to get those two together.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, just no. It's just that
Anyway, yeah, 'cause
I was
they've
amazed
been
when I
so
saw
long.
that. I thought this is obviously the split coming,
Mm.
and then yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Medway's been
Dire straits.
by themselves for a long time, haven't they?
That consultation. Is there anything we can do on that, or?
No, it's a general consultation
Yep.
open to the public.
Oh right. Yep.
Yeah. then obviously
Okay.
that's,
Highways improvement plan.
yeah, just to make you all aware of the sort of timetable that we're on. We're almost coming up to the time to renew our highway improvement plan. I will circulate to you the existing
Yep.
one over the next week or so. There are a couple of items that have been suggested, and I'll include those as well as that might want to go on it. I have a meeting, an online meeting with Kent Highways booked in the beginning of April. So if at the next month we could discuss any items that you wish to see added to the highway improvement plan, I can then take that to Highways and they can see if they're if they're suitable for coming in. I don't. Hopefully we will have the results of the traffic survey in for London Road, and when I was speaking to them about the timetable for that, she did say that any results of that we could then discuss on the highway improvement plan. So there might be some discussion on that as well. Just to make you aware of the timetable. So I will put that on the agenda for the next meeting and send you out information in the meantime.
Brilliant.
To look at.
Right. You've sent us all a copy of the emergency plan. What?
I
mean,
think it was on the agenda. I
it
sent them
was
up
brought
before,
up,
but
yes,
somebody
yeah.
said they hadn't received it all.
But when,
so
as I
just-
say,
yeah.
it really is. I mean, the PCSO, Gretel May, and that you're there. I'm there as Dover District Councillors.
I think I previously said I was happy to work on this, but when I spent some time just before Christmas looking through it, I realised I'm not going to be able to do this on my own because it's just the context, isn't it? There's a lot of context information.
They exchange it regularly.
Yeah, it almost needs input from maybe multiple people to name
I imagine we
people.
can send you bits that we know.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to know. I'm happy to own the document and really work it, but it's a lot of information that's
I think
within it.
Roger Ballman did the last one, didn't he?
I think he did. Yes.
God, that's
Yes, it
what
was.
that is,
It
isn't
was. Yes.
Yeah.
You're right, Clive. No, I've forgotten that. Now you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I can
Well,
send
that's-
you the contacts because I mean I'll probably
Yes,
have all of those,
yep.
so I can update that. No
Yeah,
problem.
and perhaps if then I'll come to the next meeting with here's the missing bits.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Can we work together to find and then work out what else we need to
Perfect.
do. At least
Yep.
it's a start.
Yes.
Make
Yes.
progress.
And it's you see, it's a very basic
Yes.
emergency plan.
It's-
If you've got a problem,
It's nothing. I was expecting this really complex document.
What about
Uh,
the
yes,
siege
yeah,
of the
no, it
rugby?
is.
DDCs is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harvey did DDCs.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, if we could do that, thanks. Thanks, Daniel. Yep. That's that, right. Anyone else got anything else to raise before we close the meeting?
No.
Just a question around the next. Do we have another events meeting at some point?
March 7th, is it?
To follow up.
Yeah, it's not.
Yes, we
Yeah.
Do we have that one?
we said it on the
7th of March,
last.
wasn't it?
Gosh, seventh, yeah.
Is that one the next one?
Yes.
I must have
Yep.
that one. 7th of March.
Did we say the time yet? No.
No, we've left that open, haven't we?
Yeah, we've left it.
Yeah, we left the time open because we wanted to check when they went.
Okay.
7th of
No,
March.
so we said
Yes, I do.
Friday.
Yeah.
So what would be the best time?
We said
For the
5, didn't
working
we? 5
people?
o'clock?
Yeah,
We said
5
5
p.m.
o'clock last time,
We-
didn't we? Yeah.
Five's good with me.
5 p.m.
Yep. Can you just drop a note round just to confirm and make certain you show the time?
Yeah, but
Just one
I've
final
been
thing,
wrong,
can we kind of next time around have a chat about the AGM in May to see if we Zeus it up a bit and get more of the community involved?
Oh, certainly
Some
not to.
ideas,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
Because I mean, if we leave it too late, we can't
Yep.
do anything, yeah.
Right.
I think we were barely poor at the last one.
we weren't there.
I will come up with a minor proposal, if it's
Yeah,
okay.
yes, yeah.
Just to let everyone know, they're refurbishing the traffic lights by the mill, aren't they? For 9 weeks.
Right.
Should be a fee.
Yeah.
5 o'clock, did
What?
you say? Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, goes down to Stratford Avenue, opposite
For 5
9 weeks.
9 weeks.
That's what they've applied for. Yeah.
Because we've got lights in there now
They put them up yesterday.
and they're potentially there for 9 weeks.
Yeah, they're refurbishing and doing something
Wow.
else. So it could be up to
That's why
up to
everyone's
9
going up over Whitfield at the
weeks. They're
moment.
all coming up past Coombe Valley. And
Yes,
up
yeah,
past
and,
here.
and yes, either down Bunkers Hill,
Yeah.
or round Coombe
Yeah.
Valley, or over the top,
Are these
down
Gravel Junction?
Buckland,
Yeah.
Buckland Post Office.
Jesus.
Where Whitfield
Yeah, I
Road
saw
goes
those,
up
there's-
there. All the traffic
there-
lights are being done.
There's 3. It's controlling 1, 2,
There's 3.
3. Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
3 flood. Yes, yeah.
So it could be at
Oh.
certain times during the day.
It was
slightly
fun this morning.
It was,
Slightly packed.
it was
All round.
quite
Yeah,
certain.
because we've got
No,
stuff.
Have we closed? We're closed.
Yeah, sorry, meeting closed. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Freeway.